Good afternoon, Madam Chairperson, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Eric Hatton and I am attending this meeting with my wife Elizabeth. My wife and I looked into the possibility of retiring to Cyprus by visiting the island and doing further research. We visited various property developers and looked at houses they had to offer. We liked one house design which they had built by Cliantha Sava, and the sales representative said there was a new development being built in the village of Anarita with this design on. We visited the village and site the houses were to be built on and decided on a plot. On returning to the sales office, the salesman said they offered us a full package with a lawyer and bank, as they were both honest and reliable. He told us the lawyer was head of the Law Society. His name is Yanis Papazakaria and based in Pathos. He then said the lawyers always used Alpha Bank for their clients. A meeting was arranged for us with both the solicitor and Alpha Bank by the sales team. The solicitor said everything would run smoothly using that particular bank, as he had always found them very helpful. We were impressed by the service they offered, and the lawyer said if we gave him power of attorney, he could get all the paperwork in place quickly. We left both the meetings feeling as if these people could be trusted, so made further appointments to go into more detail over contracts and ask further questions. The lawyer explained the contract, and we asked him about second mortgages, which we had heard could be a problem in Cyprus. We also asked about title deeds, and he assured us his particular developer had a good record of giving them to clients very quickly. That is why he liked to work with them. He explained he could do searches with the land registry to check all the points we had raised, which would be at a cost of €120. He said solicitors could only get this information, so we asked him to go ahead with these searches. We then heard from the lawyer, who informed us there was no outstanding mortgages, so he had signed the contract on our behalf. We then met with Alpha Bank. They told us a Swiss franc mortgage, which had a very low interest rate, was the only one recommended for overseas buyers. They also assured us that the lawyers found the developer very good to work with, and they had many English clients that they had bought from. We felt at this time we had secured a safe deal with our purchase, and we could trust these people as they appeared to be very helpful. We returned back to England to tie up our affairs and look forward to our retirement. We kept in touch with the developer, who sent us photographs of our building progress. Also, the solicitor and bank contacted us before our final move over to Cyprus and assured us everything was going to plan. On returning to Cyprus, we informed the developer we had arrived and went to Anarita to look at the house. We could not believe the state of the development. The house was nothing like the design we had chosen. None of the roads were complete, and the only electricity supply was from a generator, which was not big enough to support all the houses. A member of the developer's team turned up to meet us, and when we started to ask why the house was different to the one we had ordered, she said it was the house we ordered and had to sign for it. We said we wanted to see the developer first, but she said he would not be available and drove off in her car. We had no way of entering the house without the key, so looked through the windows and could see the design was nothing like the house we had ordered. We returned to Pathos as we had reservations at a hotel while waiting for our container to arrive. The next day we visited the sales office, and the staff told us the houses built on that site had to be built to that design to comply with planning laws, and the developer had purchased the land from another developer who had gone broke. When we asked about the photographs we had been sent, they said we had been sent the wrong ones by mistake. The sales team told us another phase was to be built with the design we wanted, and advised us we have the house on offer they could upgrade as soon as the next phase was finished. After talking it over, we visited the lawyer, and he said we should take the offer as the developer was acting in a reasonable manner. When we moved in, all the houses had major problems with leaking roofs, blocked drains and woodworm in doors. We and other buyers made many complaints which were ignored, and we were accused of drilling holes in the doors by one member of staff. I decided that I would put the issues right myself. As I was in the building trade, I discovered the main drainage had been put in incorrectly. After rectifying the problem at my own expense, the drains worked perfectly. We had issues with electricity as the developer kept letting the fuel run out in the generator. There were many other issues we had to address which took a few months to put right. The developer was never available for us to have a meeting, so we felt it was better to get the issue sorted out and sell the property. We then started hearing rumours that the developer had taken out a second mortgage on the site. One of our neighbours said we should try and get some information from Land Registry. As we had our lawyer check this out before we signed the contract, we felt this could not be true. We went to Land Registry with our neighbour and found out that there had been a mortgage taken out before we had signed our contract, and we could have got this information ourselves for about €8. We put this information to the lawyer and he denied we had asked him to do this service, even though we have a bill from him for carrying out the search. After more inquiries, we found out that Alpha Bank gave Cleantha Sava the second mortgage and he had defaulted on the payments and now owes in the region of €24 million. We made an appointment with Alpha Bank to speak to the manager and she denied that there was any outstanding mortgages. We asked to see our files for the property. She then left the office and on returning said our file must have been mislaid. We asked to have a formal statement that our land and house was mortgage free and she said this would have to come from head office. We never heard from the manager again about an appointment with head office or the housing department or ever had access to our file. The bank then informed us our mortgage payments had doubled. We felt at this time we could just be paying the developer's outstanding loan and could never own our house or get title deeds. We went to see the developer and told him we wanted the money we had paid back as he was in breach of contract. He just laughed at us and said, "You're in Cyprus now." We also made an appointment to see the lawyer, but were told he was away. We waited outside his office and next morning, and when he arrived, asked to speak to him. He refused to see us. We did not know what course of action to take next, as we felt we had been let down by all the people who we thought we could trust. We had our house entered and our filing cabinet containing personal documents. Some of them had been taken. We were threatened by men sitting outside our house. My wife was attacked while putting shopping in her car in the supermarket car park. She was hit so hard she fell to the ground. The man told her to get out of Cyprus as more was to come. He then stole her phone so she could not get help. We felt so unsafe we decided just to abandon our house and move back to England. We had bought 3 apartments for our retirement fund and purchased 2 cars in Cyprus, which we have now lost as we come back to England broke after investing all our savings there. We are now living day to day in rented accommodation due to dishonest practices and people in Cyprus, which is still going on to this day. Like other people in this dreadful position, our money now is fast running out and we do not know what the future holds, but we can only imagine it will get worse. You would think that Alpha Bank and our lawyer of Mr. Yanis Papazakaria standing would be trustworthy and we would be protected by the contract he signed on our behalf. We know we're not the only people who have been scammed by these corrupt people, but it seems they just carry on doing it without anyone investigating the situation. We have tried to get advice on this situation in England, but it seems there is nothing lawyers can do from this country. We have had 2 Cypriot lawyers who say they're disgusted with the situation in Cyprus. They have asked us for in the region of £2,000, and then they've come up with no evidence and not helped us at all. We have been notified recently by a firm of lawyers in England that Alpha Bank got a judgment against us in Nicosia in 2011, which we had no notice of. We were told it was sent to an address which we have never lived at. Alpha Bank have always had our email address but have made no contact through this. We responded immediately to the lawyers in England and explained our case. They contacted Alpha Bank, who have as yet failed to reply to them. You will see from a sales contract in front of you that clearly declares that there is no mortgage on the land or building. And had we known that there was a mortgage on the land, we would not have purchased anything in Cyprus. We have been let down by the developer, the lawyer and Alpha Bank, who all concealed material facts from us. Cyprus is still getting a vast amount of EU money when they have behaved so badly to European citizens. We thank you for listening to our plight and hope in some way we will get our hard-earned cash back. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the presentation of your petition. I understand from the 3 petitions that you are not alone, if I may say so. From the Commission, we have Madame Ridou. Provided I pronounce your name correctly, would you please take the floor?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like first to start by saying that the Commission shares the concern of the petitioners and the other EU citizens who have raised the attention of the Commission on the dramatic situation they face because of practices of Cypriot developers, lawyers and banks. Vice President Reding is determined to take all appropriate actions within the remit of the competence of the European Commission to ensure both an effective protection of European consumers and a correct application of European legislation. I would like to note, however, that we are discussing today 3 petitions, and we think that one petition, the petition number 1236, is not related to the 2 other petitions. This petition I just mentioned concerns building sector and health and security of dwellings, and we have already explained in the comments the Commission made to this petition that European legislation does not regulate such matters, and that these matters fall within the remit of the Member States. The law of the Cypriot law of 2007 that is mentioned in this petition transposes the Unfair Commercial Practices Directive in the Cypriot legal system, and this directive regulates business-to-consumer commercial practices. And from the content of petition 1236, I understand that the matter refers to the failure of government officers to stabilize dwellings and remedy the damage caused to foundations and superstructures. And this, in our view, cannot be qualified as a commercial practice in the sense of the directive. And furthermore, the facts relate to undertakings taken in 2005, which means before the entry into force of the Unfair Commercial Practices Directive. So I will only focus my reply on the 2 other petitions, and which relate to the main facts of the lack of issuance of title deeds to consumers who have bought properties in Cyprus. Now, I would like to say that the Commission has on several occasions reiterated that the failure to transfer legal ownership cannot be regarded as an unfair commercial practice in all circumstances, because only practices listed in Annex 1 to the directive can be considered unfair per se. But this being said, under the provisions of Directive on Unfair Commercial Practices, traders are under the obligation not to provide false or otherwise deceiving information on the main characteristics of a product offered for sale, and traders are requested to provide material information in a clear, intelligible and timely manner to consumers. The Commission considers that the lack of pre-contractual information to property buyers about the existence of developers' mortgage on the Cypriot properties offered for sale could be considered as a misleading omission in the sense of the directive. And the Commission also considers that falsely stating that a property offered for sale is not encumbered with any mortgage is a misleading action in the sense of the directive. This being said, the directive is applicable only to transactions made after the entry into force of the directive, so made after December 2007. Before the entry into force of the directive, the misleading advertising was banned by the Misleading Advertising Directive, and furthermore, contract terms which create a significant imbalance between the parties' right to the detriment of the consumers should not be binding under the Unfair Contract Terms Directive. Those two legislations apply to transactions made after the entry, after Cyprus joined the EU in May 2004. As you know, the enforcement of European legislation is the primary competence of member states. Therefore, the Commission believes that consumers who have been victims of such practices should make use of the EU-wide Consumer Protection Cooperation Network, which empowers national enforcement authorities to detect, investigate and stop cross-border unfair practices. Indeed, in the framework of this network, the British Enforcement Authority, the Office of Fair Trading, should be able to request further investigation from its Cypriot counterparts and, if the infringement is confirmed, request the cessation of the practice. In addition, aspects related to consequences of illegal practice, such as compensation for breaches of national contract law concerning real estate matters, remain mainly regulated by national law and should then be brought to the attention of national competent courts in order to preserve buyers' rights. At the same time, the Commission has been very active on the issue of property deeds in Cyprus. Since spring 2011, the Commission services have engaged in a structured dialogue with the Cypriot authorities, inquiring as to the actions carried out at national level to address the reported practices and to ensure an appropriate protection of European consumers in line with European law. One of the key priorities for action identified in the report on the application of the Unfair Commercial Practices Directive that was adopted last week, the 14th of March, is the opening of infringement procedures where the Commission has confirmation that Member States do not comply with transposition and enforcement obligations. Right now, the Commission is carrying out an in-depth assessment of information received recently from the Cypriot authorities, next to a second request of information. And the Commission services are determined to move forward and open infringement procedures if, after carrying this in-depth assessment, the Commission obtains confirmation that the Cypriot authorities do not properly apply the national provisions transposing European law. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Would any one of the colleagues like to take the floor, please? Yes, Mrs. Sinclair.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I'm a great friend to Cyprus, and my Cypriot colleagues will know the support that I've given them over the Cyprus problem and the missing people. And indeed, I was a resident myself in Cyprus for 2 years. But when I was elected in 2009, I received a number of complaints from constituents who had problems with property in Cyprus, and I contacted the recently outgoing President Christophas about this issue. I've read the letter from the petitioners who say that there is an element of misunderstanding in these proceedings. I would actually urge this committee, if these people have taken this amount of time and this amount of effort to get to this point, and they actually feel that they're not being listened to or there is a misunderstanding, I think the onus is on this committee to take a step back and listen to those people and say, what are we misunderstanding? So I would wholeheartedly support to postpone this issue and let the petitioners give us more information. I would say to the people, the Cypriot government, to which I have great regard for, the people of Cyprus are wholehearted supporters of membership of the European Union, the last weekend aside. And, you know, with the benefits, and they are net gainers from their membership of the European Union, and with those benefits, from the benefits of being in the European Union, there also comes responsibilities. And I can understand that they may feel, well, this is foreigners, you know, buying up our land or any of those issues. But, you know, they've joined the European Union, they've taken advantage of it, they've got to live by those responsibilities also.
Thank you. Anyone else? Well, I would understand that the petitioners have done a lot, if not very much, I would like to say. I do also feel that it is on us now. I fully agree that we have to help them. The first thing is that these petitions are kept open. And I do understand and I do believe that the Commission must act much stronger in this case. And I'm sure there are, if you go ahead and if you find, if you try your best, I'm sure that you find something to support the petitioners, because it can't be only put on them, I would say. To conclude, would the petitioner like to take the floor for a very, very brief summary?
Which one is it? That one? Am I on? Yes. It's not a case of people trying to grab land from the Cypriots. They're still going to shows all around the world trying to sell this land to people, and they're still trying to scam people in exactly the same way as they scammed us. I really would beg and urge your help on this matter. Thank you very much.
You may be assured that you get our support, and I hope we are successful in that.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.